Hello and welcome back to another Wednesday episode on 0612 TV. This week, we're gonna do Android Application Spotlight, a little feature that I haven't done in a very long time for the very simple reason that I didn't have the content. Well, now I do. I've been hanging around Google Play a lot more recently. I've been taking a look at some of the newer apps, and I've managed to come up with 5. Now the theme this week, loosely speaking, is Novelty. Of the 5 apps I have for you, the first one has nothing to do with that, but the rest are kinda novelty-ish, so I thought I'd just go with that. Anyway, enough rambling. It is the 3rd of April, Wednesday. You are watching 0612 TV. This is 0612 TV.
Welcome aboard.
Our first app, which deviates from the theme, is called Fast Reboot. This is an interesting little utility that is supposed to emulate a reboot. It actually closes most of the running apps and reopens the more important ones. The main objective of this is to actually free up some RAM. Sometimes you don't really want some things running anymore. I know oftentimes people say that, Android RAM isn't the same as PC RAM, in the sense that unused RAM is wasted RAM, so to speak. But by my observations, there are some times when you could really use more RAM. And running Fast Reboot actually sort of frees things up a little. Sometimes you get errors or strange glitches that require you to restart your phone. Well, by using Fast Reboot, you can actually just work around that. It will reinitialize everything, so it's kinda like a restart. For me, it's sufficient 99% of the time. I don't really have to do a power button reboot or even worse, a battery removal reboot for the longest time now. So I guess it is at least a little bit helpful. So you might want to take a look at this, especially if you're a power user and you run your phone into the wall very often. You'll probably want a means of, just doing a quick wipe of the RAM and hoping everything recovers from there. So this application is called Fast Reboot. I'll of course put a link in the video description, as well as a QR code on screen. Alright, let's talk novelty. Starting from the least novel and most useful still from my list, this app is called Vybe, and what it does is it allows you to create custom vibrations. You can then apply these vibrations to various contacts so that when you have your phone in your pocket set to vibration, and when someone calls you, you can tell who it is without actually having to pull out your phone. Interesting little concept, but the most fun and novel part of it is how you can actually create your own vibration pattern. Essentially, it's a large button on screen, and as you tap that, well, it generates a vibration pattern. Personally, my only use of this is to set apart my SMS tone from the rest of my alerts. I personally would have preferred being able to set it for alerts coming from different programs, so that when I have my phone in my pocket, I can tell whether I got an email, whether I got a text, or whether I got a message on WhatsApp. So I guess that's some things for the developer to think about, but right now, at least it can do SMS and it can do calls. Pretty interesting app called Vybe. You can check it out by scanning the QR code wherever I put that, or popping down to the link in the video description. Next, a game. Yes, a game that has a pretty novel concept. This game is called Lazors. Well, Lazors, but you get the idea. As its name implies, this game has something to do with lasers. In fact, it is a puzzle game, and by moving blocks around the screen, you reflect a laser beam such that it reaches its destination point. There are a number of different types of blocks, including blocks that reflect light and can be moved around, including blocks that are immobile, blocks that absorb light, as well as blocks that split the light. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of puzzle games because they tend to get a little bit hard and start ripping out chunks of hair. But this particular game is challenging but not frustrating, and attaining this balance isn't easy, which is why I thought, well, this was executed quite well, and I thought you guys should check it out. As usual, QR code on screen, link in description. We move on to a program that is 90% novelty and 10% useful, and it's called Instant Heart Rate. Yes, you knew you could use your smartphone for a lot of things, but maybe you didn't know you could use it to measure your pulse. Your prerequisites for using this app is firstly you do need to have a camera on your phone, and you are very recommended to have an LED flash or something of that sort that lights up. Now the way you use this app is you have to place your finger over the flash and the camera lens at the same time, and what happens next is that the program will take some time to actually look at what the camera is seeing. You can actually see a little graph on screen where the app is actually trying to figure out what changes in light intensity reflects your pulse. The process takes about 15 seconds and it will tell you what your pulse is. If you're actually exercising at the same time, it will tell you whether you are getting warmed up, whether you're ready to get into the main bulk of the exercise, or if you're overworking yourself. Pretty interesting. I'm not sure how useful it is, I'm not sure how accurate it is. Perhaps I can do an accuracy test, but that will come at a later time, if it happens at all. Anyway, this app is called Instant Heart Rate. Very much of a novelty thing, but if you want to try it out and have some fun, well, you can by scanning the QR code on screen or going to the link in the video description. And well, I've saved the best to last. While I can't say this app is extremely useful, it's very much of a novelty thing, but what's more importantly is that this is really freaking cool. This app is called Augment, and as its name kinda implies, this is an augmented reality app. And here's what it does. When you start off the app, you choose a 3D model. The app takes a while to load up the 3D model, but once that is done, it switches over to camera mode and the 3D model is placed and actually tracked into the camera footage. Now when you just enter this mode, you realize that the tracking is probably a little bit sloppy, but here's what you can do. Grab a magazine, or in my case a playing card, and set that as the tracker. Basically what the app does is that it recognizes the whatever object you show it, and from then on, repositioning your camera as long as it gets a good view of the object will allow it to have a very good track. You will be able to see and almost physically manipulate a 3D model that is on screen and track to your tracker. It is really fun and it gives you that futuristic kind of feel. Once again, this app is called Augment. It is extremely amazing and I really recommend you check it out. As always, QR code on screen and link in the video description. And that's it. That's all the 5 apps we have for today. If you have any comments, queries or suggestions, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Don't forget to check out the official Twitter page for this channel at twitter.com/061tv. As always, I appreciate every like, favorite and subscription you give me. But until next time, you are watching 061TV.